Advances in technology have made hearing a more fashionable thing. Gone are the big, bulky hearing aids of yesteryear, and in are more sleek, modern, and connected devices. Connect to your TV, your phone, and the world around you. If you are having trouble with hearing, then schedule a free hearing test at Miracle Ear of Southwest Kansas with convenient locations in Dodge City, Garden City, and Liberal. More and more people of all ages are starting their journey towards better hearing, and you can too. Visit miracle-ear.com today to schedule a free hearing test. Miracle Ear of Southwest Kansas. You deserve to hear a better day.
Hello everyone, this is Harrison again to tell you about Spike's Cafe. Spike's Cafe is the place you want to take your family for breakfast or lunch. Trust me, they even cater. So if you have a party, they will bring the food to you or their food truck to your event. Spike's Cafe is the best. My dad takes me a lot of places to eat, so I know what I'm talking about. Spike's Cafe is open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And on some Fridays they stay open until 8. So check out their Facebook page for specials or today's hours. Spike's Cafe, only in Ingalls, Kansas.
Is that trash bin starting to smell a little funky? Then it's time to set up a monthly or quarterly subscription with MC Bin Cleaners. Or even just a one-time cleaning. Currently serving Dodge City, Mineola, Cimarron, and Ingalls. They don't just rinse out the bins, they clean and sanitize them, getting rid of not just the smell, but harmful bacteria and germs like Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, and more. Plus, a clean bin helps keep rodents away. They supply everything, too, from the water and the cleaning products to the disposal of the dirty water. No mess left behind. Cleaning both residential and commercial bins. Follow MC Bin Cleaners on Facebook and TikTok and visit their website, mcbincleaners.com. Subscriptions starting as low as $20. Locally owned and operated, cost-effective, and eco-friendly. Visit mcbincleaners.com today.
If you need a place to cash your paycheck or are looking for a little extra cash, stop by AAA Pawn and Armory. AAA Pawn and Armory has a wide selection of slightly used items such as TVs, guitars, golf clubs, tools, jewelry, and more. They also have a large inventory of rifles, shotguns, and handguns, as well as ammo in stock. So whether you are looking for your next firearm, TV, or other item, or you just need to cash a check or pawn something for a little extra money, don't go anywhere but AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas Avenue in Garden City.
That's right, bench warmers, it is that time. It is Friday, it is Ridin the Pine. Presented by AAA Pawn and Armory right here on Dry River Radio. Glad to have you along. My name is Joey Dean. I'll be your host for the next 55 minutes or so, and then get you back to all the music that you're used to listening to throughout the day. We've got some great music, don't we? I think we do. Being that I'm the one who put this all together. Yeah, it's my opinion, and it's the correct one. One thing that's not been correct so far for me is my bracket. It has been absolutely awful as March Madness has not been kind to this guy. It is National Joe Day, by the way. I was informed of that earlier. So, you guys can all, thank me for the wisdom that I impart upon you on a weekly basis as your life coach, your hero. You can, you can all just bow down to the Joe Day today. Lots to get to, really. The two big things to get to today is March Madness, and of course, Major League Baseball had opening day yesterday. The Royals open today. They will play against the Braves today. Cole Reagans will go against Chris Sale in that one. It's 6:15 this evening. There's a lot to get to with baseball, and I'll do that here in a little bit. As those of you watching on Facebook Live and whatnot can see, I'm wearing a Royals hat and my Cubs shirt. The Cubs came up short yesterday, so that one stung a little bit. But we'll start with March Madness, as it has been quite the tournament. Kansas nearly came back and beat St. John's after falling behind huge. In the NIT, Wichita State fell behind huge and nearly came back and beat Tulsa. The thing about Wichita State's game is they went away from the things that were working in their comeback. When they got the lead, they started chucking up threes instead of working it inside. They hit 2 threes all night. they needed to work it inside and continue to do that. They had broken the will of Tulsa, and lucky for Tulsa, they went away from that, and the Golden Hurricane was able to make the comeback and get the win, which was very, very disappointing to me and H. Had to deal with him crying the day before when KU, or I guess earlier that day or day before, something like that, when KU lost, and then had to deal with him crying again when Shockers lost. So it was a rough weekend for this household. But St. John's moves on. They play Duke tonight. And I actually had picked St. John's to beat KU. I was not overly impressed with this KU team this year. They were good, but they were not the cohesive unit that you're used to seeing, coached by Bill Self. And it's kind of interesting because they were for stretches of the season when Darren Peterson was not involved, when he was dealing with his injuries and things like that. They put some spankings on some teams. They were very cohesive, very good. The Darren Peterson effect, I don't understand why the entirety of the scheme of the Kansas Jayhawks changed when Darren Peterson was in the game, because it did. The whole strategy completely changed, and they tried running everything through him, and he's a good player, but he was not Kobe Bryant good. And so, running everything through him's fine, but you were working. Everything was working when Peterson was out. Having him just be a role guy, I mean, maybe that's not what he was recruited for. Maybe that's not what, his NIL says he is, but that's the role he needed to play for this team to be successful, not just Darren Peterson. And he had a good game against St. John's, but, this team wasn't going to win a national championship. They just weren't. And, they allowed Cal Baptist to come all the way back. And just, basically it was time that was against Cal Baptist, because if there's another 3 or 4 minutes on that clock, Cal Baptist probably comes all the way back. They were playing lights out. Kansas coming back on St. John's was huge, but, what are you doing at the end of that game? That is the easiest layup, game-winning layup in the history of basketball, I think. It was incredibly easy for him to get to the rim. There was a defender there. I believe it was Trey White, was right there. And he went toward the perimeter instead of stepping into the lane and diverting. I'm all for the guy passing it out, kicking it out, and forcing them to shoot a three. The odds of them making a three at the last second are a lot lower than if he gets unimpeded to the basket, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, the layup was too easy. And if he passes it out, at least more time comes off the clock, and there's a chance that they don't get the shot off. But nonetheless, it's a hurried shot, and, I mean, just the percentages are in favor of Kansas at that point. All you got to do is protect the lane. Don't let him get to the basket. And they couldn't do that. And that is not what we've seen out of Bill Self teams in the past. We've seen very good defensive teams. And so this is if this is the last year for Bill Self, which I don't think it is, but if it is, then that's a tough way to go out. Rick Pitino on the other side has had a storied career. He's gotten in trouble a lot. He was the head coach of that Louisville team that beat Wichita State in the Final Four, ended up winning the national title, and then had it vacated, which I still think that Wichita State kind of got screwed over in that game, officiating-wise. They should have won that game. But, Rick Pitino, give him his due. He got the job done. But, that was a game for Kansas. They came all the way back and they fought, and they got in a position to at least send it to overtime, and they should have. There's no doubt in my mind that if the defender steps in and doesn't allow him to get to the basket and he kicks it out, they're not hitting that three. I just don't think they are. Were they a good 3-point shooting team? Yeah, but I mean that's a tough shot to hit. As time's expiring, you got to catch and shoot three. I mean, maybe that's the blessing. You don't have time to think about it, but I mean, that's tough from the corner even. So either way, it was a tough year for Kansas. I don't understand. Since then, we've had multiple people try to be the report, and Bill Self had to come out and say, no, none of that's accurate. But people saying that he was going to retire and so was getting named head coach and blah, blah, blah. None of that's been decided yet. And I get why people do it, because they get clicks and they get views, and then they get rewarded with money because of it. And I think that if you're spreading fakeness like that, fake reports on stuff, and it turns out, it was just a lie, and you're spreading that around, I don't think you should get any monetary gain from it. I think that Facebook or YouTube or whoever should hold that and be like, no, you're not getting rewarded for being a jackwagon and lying to people and trying to convince them that something's happened when it hasn't. And we see it in politics all the time, with political things that, oh my goodness, I scroll through Facebook and half-truths and outright lies that are posted, and it's like, come on. And then people will say, well, it's parody. No, that's not parody. It's just lies. And that's where we're at with this Bill Self thing. People are talking about, on Facebook and other places that he's going to retire and blah, blah, blah. He hasn't made a decision yet. He said he was going to go talk to his family. He's going to probably take a week or two to talk to his family. He did deal with health issues this year. That's something that he's going to take into account. We all get to that point at some point where we go, is this really worth it for my health? I got to that point when I was in over-the-air radio, working for somebody else, and it was not good for my health. And here I am, lower blood pressure, 50 pounds lighter, and enjoying my life, and still get to do what I like to do. And maybe that's the thing. Bill Self needs to take a year or so and step away from it and then see, maybe he still wants to coach. We've seen coaches do that. He's not an old guy by any means. He's not young either. And so he's in that he's never going to have to worry about money or anything like that. Neither will his wife and kids. I mean, he's been well taken care of by the University of Kansas. 2 national championships will do that. But he's going to have to sit down, and it's not going to be an easy decision for him. He's going to go back and forth on it. Just like Travis Kelce had that extended time to think about retiring or not and decided to come back for one more year. These are not easy decisions for these guys. This is their life. This is what they, were born to do. This is what they know to do. When coaches retire, excuse me, a lot of them try to stick around the game, be an analyst or whatever. I mean, look at Lou Holtz. He was coach forever and then became an analyst and was huge in that. And he did all that until he died. I mean, they are tied to the game, these guys. And it's hard for them to let it go. And so it's going to be hard for Bill Self to make that decision, but he still hasn't made that decision. And I'm not going on searching for coaches and trying to theorize who the University of Kansas is going to hire next. For a long time, I was convinced Mark Turgeon was going to be the guy eventually to take over at the University of Kansas. That was back when he was at Wichita State, and then he ended up in Maryland, and I thought that would be the guy, an alum and all that. But I don't think he's the guy anymore, and I don't really have any names on a short list. And it's ridiculous to have any names right now because no decision has been made. Paul Pierce could be the guy. I don't know. That's not a decision for me to make. And playing armchair GM or armchair athletic director doesn't really get you anywhere anyway. It just ticks people off. And, there's a lot of that going around anyway with fans of certain schools that, they're obnoxious. Arizona being the prime one. A number of Big 12 chats and groups and posts and pages Arizona fans are insufferable. They won big over Arkansas last night. Congratulations to them. But they do so by tearing down the other schools in the conference, namely the Kansas Jayhawks, and trying to rub it in Kansas's face. Look, all right, 4 national titles to 1. That let's just start there, and then start adding all the accolades. Oh well, you're living in the past. Okay, still beat you this year. One of your losses was to the Kansas Jayhawks. The tournament is a crapshoot anyway. I've said that multiple times. It's the luck of the draw. Now, I did have Arkansas beating Arizona, and I was very surprised that Arkansas came as flat as they did. Arizona looks really good. They look like a team that could win a national championship. And if they do, that's great. There's no need to tear each other down, especially in a conference like the Big 12, where there was multiple teams in the Big 12 that made it to the Sweet 16. Now, Illinois took care of Houston last night. Got Iowa State and Tennessee tonight. Hopefully Iowa State can move on, but them being on the side of the bracket, the same side as Arizona, you're not going to have an all Big 12 national championship. You could have 2 teams in the Final Four, and that'd be great. Half the teams from one conference. You got the Big Ten right now that's trying to do that as well, because they've got a great opportunity. They'll have at least one team in the national championship, in the Final Four, as Iowa and Illinois will play each other tomorrow. But they've still got Michigan State sitting out there. They still got Purdue. So the Big Ten looks really good. The SEC, not so much. One SEC school left, one ACC school left, and then St. John's from the Big East. So I guess there's 2 Big East, UConn and St. John's. But things will clear up a little bit more after tonight. We'll get to the Elite Eight. But there's nothing to hang your head about. Making it to the next round, the second round, which is really what it is. They say third round now, but the round of 32. There's nothing wrong with that. And to lose at the final seconds to a legendary coach like Rick Pitino, there's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't the year for Kansas. I don't think that, Bill Self is the game's passed him by, as some people have said, or the NIL's playing havoc and blah, 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 blah. Like, I think the NIL has something to do with all this mess, and the NCAA still lets it, run rampant instead of getting control of this whole deal, because it's not name, image, likeness anymore. It's not getting paid for showing up at Bob's Subaru or whatever. They're straight up salaries. They're signing bonuses. They're just getting paid, which is insane. If you're going to do that, you got to have some regulations in place. You got to have some rules, and right now there isn't any. And so guys get paid $7 million a year to play college basketball and sit on the bench half the time because they're injured or what have you, and don't feel like playing. I mean, it's completely different game now than what it was even 20 years ago. But no, I don't think that the game is past Bill Self by, and I don't think he can't navigate the NIL. I think that Kansas is a place that can definitely come up with the money to build a roster, but I don't know that that's always going to be the solution, is to buy a new roster every year, because of the crapshoot that is the tournament. I think you have to, on some level, do a little bit of building as well. That's where the one and dones, Kansas had, Bill Self had plenty of success with the one and dones. And, that was the pre-NIL era, the one and done era. And Kansas had a ton of success with it. And so I think that, that's something that can be figured out by Bill Self and the University of Kansas. But he's got to come back. And I think he will for at least one more year. That's just my gut feeling. and put more of a plan in place, a succession plan in place. But I don't, I'm not going to try to figure out who needs to be the next coach and all that, because there's a lot of good coaches out there, and you're going to find guys that, you didn't realize were good coaches. There's plenty of them out there. So it's a lot easier, I think, to, just sit there and guess than, have hard evidence. And to me, these coaches jumping ship, like the Charlotte coach goes to South Florida. It's the same conference. The South Florida coach goes to, where did he go? Not Villanova, one of those schools, Providence. I get going to a bigger school, I guess, but, going from, Arizona to KU, or going from Texas to KU, or Iowa State to KU, that's a lateral move. That doesn't make sense, and we see coaches do that all the time, and I just don't get it. Well, I got a better chance of winning a national title there. Why? You're in the same conference. Maybe the NIL money is better there or whatever, but if you're a coach worth his salt, you're going to be in that conversation anyway. And I think that with the NIL, there's an opportunity for some of these smaller schools, the private schools, to really make some noise. And, if you're a coach and you've got a nice cushy spot at a Providence or Villanova or whatever, St. John's, you can absolutely win a national championship there. I think that the field is more wide open now than it has been in a long, long time. We saw Siena take Duke to the wire. We saw Cal Baptist come back on KU. There was Kennesaw State that came close to beating Gonzaga. There was, Furman and UConn. I mean, there was so many games that were very close. Some smaller schools won. St. Louis beat Georgia. There was some schools that aren't of the power variety that found success in the tournament, and I think that's fantastic, and I think that's going to continue, and we're going to see it a lot more, and we're going to see more parity across college basketball because of the NIL. But the NCAA needs to get control over the whole thing, and that's the biggest driving point of that. We'll take a break. This program brought to you by AAA Pawn and Armory in Garden City, 132 West Kansas in Garden City. Go check them out. Check out their Facebook, AAA Pawn Shop. You can click on the link on our Facebook page as we share that link on there each and every week. And check them out because they have gun raffles. You can get a ticket and be in the running for sometimes $25, sometimes $50. It depends on what the gun is. I know he was raffling off an AR-15 the other day. So you can get in on some of that action. Just check them out on Facebook. AAA Pawn Shop is what you look for. And Jeremy and the gang will be sure to please you. And they've got some great stuff in there. You think of pawn shop, you think of used stuff, but this is slightly used stuff. They're very picky about what they accept there at AAA Pawn and Armory. They've got TVs, they've got electronics, games, and of course tools, fishing gear, firearms, ammunition, musical equipment. There's a arcade game in there, all sorts of cool stuff. So go check them out. Jewelry. 132 West Kansas in Garden City. It's AAA Pawn and Armory. We'll take a break. This is Ridin the Pine, presented by AAA Pawn and Armory right here on Dry River Radio. Graph Inc. is your printing solution nationwide and the only place I do my printing business. Hello everyone, it's me, Joey Dean. When I need business cards, flyers, banners, or even just graphic design, I call my friends at Graph Inc. They can print you pretty much anything and have it arrive at your door in short order. scale tickets, carbon sheets, or whatever you need printed. The professionals at Graph Inc. will make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. They're a 24/7 printer too, so don't worry if it's 7 p.m. on a Friday. They will still make sure you're taken care of. Find them online at gigc.us. The only place I trust for my printing needs is Graph Inc.
Advances in technology have made hearing a more fashionable thing. Gone are the big bulky hearing aids of yesteryear, and in are more sleek, modern, and connected devices. Connect to your TV, your phone, and the world around you. If you are having trouble with hearing, then schedule a free hearing test at Miracle Ear of Southwest Kansas with convenient locations in Dodge City, Garden City, and Liberal. More and more people of all ages are starting their journey towards better hearing, and you can too. Visit miracle-ear.com today to schedule a free hearing test. Miracle Ear of Southwest Kansas. You deserve to hear a better day.
Hello everyone, this is Harrison again to tell you about Spike's Cafe. Spike's Cafe is the place you want to take your family for breakfast or lunch. Trust me, they even cater. So if you have a party, they will bring the food to you or their food truck to your event. Spike's Cafe is the best. My dad takes me a lot of places to eat, so I know what I'm talking about. Spike's Cafe is open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And on some Fridays they stay open until 8. So check out their Facebook page for specials or today's hours. Spike's Cafe, only in Ingalls, Kansas.
Is that trash bin starting to smell a little funky? Then it's time to set up a monthly or quarterly subscription with MC Bin Cleaners. Or even just a one-time cleaning. Currently serving Dodge City, Mineola, Cimarron, and Ingalls. They don't just rinse out the bins, they clean and sanitize them, getting rid of not just the smell, but harmful bacteria and germs like Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, and more. Plus, a clean bin helps keep rodents away. They supply everything, too, from the water and the cleaning products to the disposal of the dirty water. No mess left behind. Cleaning both residential and commercial bins. Follow MC Bin Cleaners on Facebook and TikTok and visit their website, mcbincleaners.com. Subscriptions starting as low as $20. Locally owned and operated, cost-effective, and eco-friendly. Visit mcbincleaners.com today.
If you need a place to cash your paycheck or are looking for a little extra cash, stop by AAA Pawn and Armory. AAA Pawn and Armory has a wide selection of slightly used items such as TVs, guitars, golf clubs, tools, jewelry, and more. They also have a large inventory of rifles, shotguns, and handguns, as well as ammo in stock. So whether you are looking for your next firearm, TV, or other item, or you just need to cash a check or pawn something for a little extra money, don't go anywhere but AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas Avenue in Garden City.
Welcome back, bench warmers. It is Ridin the Pine right here on Dry River Radio. I'm your host, Joey Dean. We'll shift gears a little bit, start talking about some baseball. As opening day was yesterday, I got to watch a couple of games. Watch the Cubs get just destroyed by the Nationals. Didn't see that coming. And then watched the end of the Orioles game. H got home right about that time. And it was really funny because I have a friend, Lacey, who she goes to a ton of Oriole games. She's always there for opening day. And so she was posting on Facebook about how she was there, excited baseball's back and all of that. And I told H that as we were watching, I said, I got a friend that's at that stadium right now, and he, oh my goodness, he blew his little mind. Really? You know somebody there? Like, that's so cool. Yeah, dude. You've been to an MLB game. You were just very, very little. So I got to take him to a Royals game or a Rockies game at some point this year. That way he can remember it, because he was a baby. I think he was like one and a half when we went to the Royals-Cubs game years ago. And so definitely need to take him to one. He remembers going to a Wind Surge game. He remembers going to, of course, Wind games. He's grown up at Clint Leitner Ballpark. And, of course, the Wind season starts May 28th, my 40th birthday. And you can hear that right here on Dry River Radio. But, yeah, the kid needs to go to an MLB game that he can remember. And so definitely going to make plans. Seems like we went to another Royals game, but maybe we didn't. Maybe that was just that one. I don't remember. I've been to a lot of games in a lot of different places, so it's It's all kind of blurred together. I know I've never been to an NFL game, but I've been to all the other major sports for the most part. So, but the Royals get underway tonight, 6:15. They take on the Braves from Truist Park in Atlanta. Lots of different projections. I saw one where Pacoda had the Royals winning the Central Division with 84 victories, 84 and 78. Looking at the ESPN predictions, Brad Doolittle has the playoff odds for the Royals at 40%, projected record of 83 and 79. And you look at this team, and it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I was talking with Randy Ralston, the GM of the Wind, last week about this, and it's kind of exciting about this Royals season because you got a decent pitching staff that you're kind of set up for some success with the pitching staff. Starting with Cole Reagans, we got Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Chris Bubich, and Noah Cameron. Those are your starting five. But the relievers aren't terrible. Carlos Estefeos is a good closer. Lucas Ursig, Matt Strom. Those are some guys that they've got some stuff. Daniel Lynch, he's slotted in. He was very good last year. But the pitching, it's going to be solid. Both the starting rotation and the bullpen is just going to be solid. It's not going to be lights out. It's not going to be Danny Duffy or Dono Ventura good. But it's going to be solid. What I'm excited about for the Royals is the offense. You've got the changing of the guard with Salvador Perez and Carter Jensen. And I think Jensen is going to be the more experience he gets, the more time he plays, the better he's going to be. He's going to be very good. And so I think that, we're going to see a little more Salvador Perez in the DH spot. And Carter Jensen behind the plate a little more as the season goes on. Right now, Carter Jensen going to be that DH guy. You're going to see those guys flip-flop. Vinny Pasquantino, after what he did for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic, I'm expecting big things from him. Bobby Witt Jr., just another solid season, vying for an MVP yet again. Mikel Garcia was outstanding as well in the World Baseball Classic. And ended up the MVP, and he's going to be another guy in that lineup that's very good. A lot of people forget about Mikel Garcia, and I don't know why, but he's a very solid third baseman. So that you got that infield with Jonathan India at second, and that's kind of a hole. Now, if he can get back to what he was 2 years ago, then okay, that's serviceable at second base. But offensively, Jonathan India is kind of a struggle for the Royals. And second base has been a struggle for a lot of years for the Royals. Second base and right field seems like always an issue. You look at the outfield, you got Isaac Collins in left field, Kyle Isbell in center field, and Jack Caglione in right field. I think Jack is going to have a very good year. He's going to have a breakout year. We're going to see 20-some home runs, see him hit 280 or better. He's going to be the answer that the Royals have been looking for in right field. And between him, Carter Jensen, you have some newcomers that are really going to make a splash for this team that already has some strengths with Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pasquantino and Mikel Garcia and Salvador Perez. You can't forget about Salvador Perez in all of this because, Salvi, he might have went down on his batting average a year ago, but he still hit 30 home runs. He's showing a lot of pop as his age goes up. He's hitting a little bit more with power as the last few years, 2021, he had 48 home runs, 22, 23. Both of those years he had 23 home runs, 24 he had 27 last year with 30. His batting average has gone down most of those years. Last year, a career worse Check that. No, his career worst was in 18 by one. But he hit 236 last year. He hit 235 in 2018. But, you expect him to be around 250 hitter. His career average is 264. So I think he'll probably bounce back a little bit. Some of that's a little bit of bad luck hitting right at guys. And he's struck out a little bit more as he's gotten older. But like I said, he's hitting with more pop, and he's still a very good catcher. So the Royals, are very good in that position. Adding Starling Marte, Lane Thomas, and Isaac Collins in the offseason, I think all three of those were very good moves that add some depth a little bit to that outfield. You didn't add, a big pop guy, a big bat. But that's fine, because you're going to have guys that are going to fit into that mold already in camp, already, in-house with Pasquantino and Cags. I think that those are going to be the big pop guys. I think Bobby Witt's going to continue to hit for a high average and hit a handful of home runs, 25, 30 home runs. But that big pop I expect from Pasquantino or from Cags. I think those are going to be the guys with the big power numbers. They both have that potential. So, Italy, they had a great lineup with Cags and Pasquantino and everybody else. And so the Royals, the Royals guys for their part did very well in the World Baseball Classic, and I think that's going to help the Royals moving forward as they try to make a push in that AL Central. It's going to be tough. You have the Tigers and that pitching staff that is outstanding. Now, the Tigers didn't get a lot better on offense, but, the last 2 years they've put together good enough seasons, and now they have that pitching staff. And, what was a young team is a little bit older now. So the Tigers, let me see if I can find their deal here, are projected, of course, to win the AL Central. And here we go. According to ESPN Doolittle, 89-73, 70% playoff odds. You've got the impending free agency of Tariq Skubal. How is he going to perform with the way that this team treated him in arbitration? He deserved to be treated a lot better, and especially the Tigers deciding to go out and and sign another pitcher for more money than what Skubal's going to get. Skubal's the best pitcher in baseball right now. He deserves everything, that all the accolades that he gets, and he's won back-to-back Cy Young awards, which is not something that's easy to do. He's just really good, but he's not going to be with the Tigers after this year. You need Spencer Torkelson and Javi Baez. Those are guys that have fallen off a little bit offensively. They have the potential to be very good offensively. They struggled. They need to be productive. Riley Green, excuse me, needs to cut down on his strikeouts, and he needs to hit a little bit better. But there's some guys that have the potential to be very productive for this Tigers team. So they're going to be very difficult to chase down in the Central. I think the Royals can do it, but it's going to take some big years from Cags, and Jensen's going to have to establish himself. Pasquantino's going to have to continue to develop, and Bobby Witt Jr. just needs to do Bobby Witt Jr. things. And the pitching staff has to stay healthy, because there's not a ton of depth. There's some depth, but there's not a ton. And so you need health. That's the biggest factor for the Royals this year, is staying healthy. So games that were played yesterday in Major League Baseball, there were some good ones. The Mets beat the Pirates. It's so funny to see Pirates fans, and there's some people that were picking them to be second in the NL Central, and so they lose on opening day, and then it's almost like jumping ship at that point for the Pirates fans. But it's just funny to see some of these fan bases. The White Sox already eliminated from postseason as they lost 14-2 to the Brewers. Of course, the Nationals beat the Cubs 10-4. The Orioles with a 2-1 win over the Twins. That got interesting late. The Twins had man in scoring position to tie the game, but the Orioles were able to shut the door. Just 5 hits for each of those teams. Not a very good day offensively. The pitching was very good for both of those teams on opening day. The Red Sox 3-0 winners over the Reds. The Angels 3-0 winners over the Astros. Remember last year the Astros started out really rough, and they were able to put it together in the end. The Tigers 8-2 winners over the Padres. Excuse me. The Phillies 5-3 winners over the Rangers. Cardinals 9-7 over the Rays. You had just 10 combined hits in that Orioles game. Let's see, that is 31 combined hits between the Rays and the Cardinals. That was all offense. Diamondbacks fell to the Dodgers 8-2, and the Guardians 6-4 over the Mariners. So that was opening day yesterday. Of course, the Yankees beat the Giants on opening night. Those two kick off things today, this afternoon from Oracle Park. But I don't like the opening night thing. I know it's been, the thing, just like the opening international series that they do every once in a while. Like last year, it was the Cubs and somebody, I don't remember who, in Japan. Cubs and Dodgers, that's what it was, or in Korea or wherever it was. I don't like that. I just feel like opening day is such a special day. No other sport has a thing like opening day. You got the Thursday night game to kick off the NFL season, but it's not like a religious thing like baseball is. Opening day is just kind of like a religious thing. People take it very, very seriously, and I think, when I was a kid, I heard stories about, Cincinnati. Noon in Cincinnati was opening day, and that's when opening day was. TV has kind of destroyed a lot of different traditions, and I think that's one that baseball should bring back is, the day game in Cincinnati to kick things off, and then everybody else starts a half hour later or whatever. But have everybody play on opening day. This garbage of the Royals not starting until Friday, day after opening day, it's just weird. Why? It just doesn't make any sense. So, I think that everybody should play on opening day. You should have 15 games on opening day, start them at noon in Cincinnati, and go from there. You're going to – and the way the TV thing's set up now with Major League Baseball, you're not fighting for a TV audience, really. The opening day games were on Netflix, for crying out loud, which, by the way, Netflix just raised their rates after gaining 25 million new subscribers. Okay, so this is all a money grab. I have MLB TV. There was 4 different games still blacked out. The Dodgers game was blacked out. The Reds game was blacked out. The Angels game was blacked out, and something else. And today the Royals game will be blacked out unless I spend the $99 to add the Royals to my plan. But it's ridiculous. They want to grow the game of baseball. They want more eyeballs watching it, and they've got this great streaming platform that could make it very, very easy to do. Just include all the teams and get rid of the blackouts. And baseball has refused to do that. They've been, slaves to the regional sports stations, and it's not good for baseball. And after the success of the World Baseball Classic, I was saying last week, baseball needs to capitalize on this. They're not going to, but they need to. That's, the number one thing that they need to do is capitalize on the success of the World Baseball Classic. And they're, opening days all spread out, and you got the opening night, and then you got opening day for almost everybody, then everybody else opens on Friday. It's a mess. It needs to be more of a uniform thing. It needs to be, I always joke that it should be a national holiday, just like the day after the Super Bowl. Certain things transcend culture, and in America, opening day and the Super Bowl are two very big sports days, and so I'd just like to see it, get back to a little more simple, instead of having to have 7 different streaming platforms just to watch your team. That's just insane to me. At least I can listen to the games on the radio, though. That's always good. Both the Cubs and the Royals have outstanding play-by-play guys. The Orioles have pretty good play-by-play, as do the Nationals. That's 4 teams that I really pay attention to. I'll fall asleep watching West Coast games on my MLB TV when they're not blacked out, I guess. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I just feel like blackouts are so outdated. They need to be done away with in all sports, not just in baseball, in basketball and football too. Blackouts are they're wildly dumb to me. Either way, that's my thoughts on that. And of course, you can join with your thoughts. Texting the show, 620-222-0898 is the text line. You can just shoot me a message and tell me how wrong you think I am, because, that's what people like to do. But it is Joe Day, so I'm obviously not wrong today. I'm amazing. We'll take a break, come back, and do the picks and close up shop here on a Friday. This is Ridin the Pine, presented by AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas in Garden City. Graph Inc. is your printing solution nationwide and the only place I do my printing business. Hello everyone, it's me, Joey Dean. When I need business cards, flyers, banners, or even just graphic design, I call on my friends at Graph Inc. They can print you pretty much anything and have it arrive at your door in short order. Scale tickets, carbon sheets, or whatever you need printed. The professionals at Graph Inc. will make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. They're a 24/7 printer too, so don't worry if it's 7 p.m. on a Friday. They will still make sure you're taken care of. Find them online at gigc.us. The only place I trust for my printing needs is Graph Inc.
Advances in technology have made hearing a more fashionable thing. Gone are the big bulky hearing aids of yesteryear, and in are more sleek, modern, and connected devices. Connect to your TV, your phone, and the world around you. If you are having trouble with hearing, then schedule a free hearing test at Miracle Ear of Southwest Kansas, with convenient locations in Dodge City, Garden City, and Liberal. More and more people of all ages are starting their journey towards better hearing, and you can too. Visit miracle-ear.com today to schedule a free hearing test. Miracle Ear of Southwest Kansas. You deserve to hear a better day.
Hello everyone, this is Harrison again to tell you about Spike's Cafe. Spike's Cafe is the place you want to take your family for breakfast or lunch. Trust me, they even cater. So if you have a party, they will bring the food to you or their food truck to your event. Spike's Cafe is the best. My dad takes me a lot of places to eat, so I know what I'm talking about. Spike's Cafe is open Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And on some Fridays, they stay open until 8. So check out their Facebook page for specials or today's hours. Spike's Cafe, only in Ingalls, Kansas.
Is that trash bin starting to smell a little funky? Then it's time to set up a monthly or quarterly subscription with MC Bin Cleaners. Or even just a one-time cleaning. Currently serving Dodge City, Mineola, Cimarron, and Ingalls. They don't just rinse out the bins, they clean and sanitize them, getting rid of not just the smell, but harmful bacteria and germs like Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, and more. Plus, a clean bin helps keep rodents away. They supply everything, too, from the water and the cleaning products to the disposal of the dirty water. No mess left behind. Cleaning both residential and commercial bins. Follow MC Bin Cleaners on Facebook and TikTok and visit their website, mcbincleaners.com. Subscriptions starting as low as $20. Locally owned and operated, cost-effective, and eco-friendly. Visit mcbincleaners.com today.
If you need a place to cash your paycheck or are looking for a little extra cash, stop by AAA Pawn and Armory. AAA Pawn and Armory has a wide selection of slightly used items such as TVs, guitars, golf clubs, tools, jewelry, and more. They also have a large inventory of rifles, shotguns, and handguns, as well as ammo in stock. So whether you are looking for your next firearm, TV, or other item, or you just need to cash a check or pawn something for a little extra money, don't go anywhere but AAA Pawn and Armory, 132 West Kansas Avenue in Garden City.
Bench Warmers, it is Riding the Pine right here on Dry River Radio. Final segment of the program. If you like listening to the show, if you missed anything, of course, you can download it in podcast form on all your podcast streaming sites, Amazon and Spotify and all those. About a half hour or so after the show, I have them all up there, so you can download them there. You can also listen to them on our website, dryriverservices.com. And you can listen to past shows and keep up to date with things. And, of course, for 30 days, you can watch the video on Facebook Live until Facebook deletes it because of their new rules or whatever. I don't know. But, yeah, there's plenty of ways to keep in contact, in tune with the thoughts here on Riding the Pine. Coming up here in a couple of weeks, we'll have some people from the Garden City Wind joining the show, as I've got to get the studio straightened up enough for people to come do some shows with me. But we'll have the manager, Ted Brockstrom, at some point. We'll have Melissa Parker, the housing coordinator for all the host family coordinator, I guess is what she is. But we'll have her on, and probably have Randy Ralston on as well. That'll be sometime down the road that we'll be doing that here in the next few weeks or so, sometime in April, because the wind season comes around May 28th. Very excited about this year. Excited for Teddy. Ted Brockstrom, he's been one of those pitchers that you just can't help but like. Native of the Twin Cities area. He's a funny guy. He's a fun guy, and very good baseball guy. Baseball mind, and so I'm excited to see him get his shot, much like 2 years ago when we saw Easton Barnes get his shot. Barnes, of course, moving up the baseball ladder, and that's one thing that the Wind has been able to do is most of the managers the last 8 years have gone on and found success at the higher levels, as well as a handful of players. So just keep churning that out. It's tough being a franchise in the Pecos League, which is the lowest form of professional baseball. Everybody wants to move up. You want them to move up to the next level. But it's kind of tough because then you don't necessarily have guys returning year after year. And so it makes it a little harder for the manager and the general manager to rebuild every season, but the Wind have been able to do that under Randy Ralston as GM since 2018 is when he came on, 1 year after I started working with the Wind. So I got him by a year. I remind him of that every once in a while. But fantastic work done by the people in the Wind organization to each and every year field a successful ball club and make the playoffs. They've made the playoffs every single year since 2019. So that's a significant deal. They haven't fared as well in the playoffs as you want, but one of these days they'll break through and win that Mountain Division championship and go on and play for a Pecos League championship. One of these years. This is the year, I think. As a Cubs fan my entire life, and Royals fan too, you get used to saying, this is the year. Maybe next year. Next year's the year. This is the year. It's you get used to not winning championships, but it will be cool when the Wind finally do break through and do that. Let's get to the picks for today, starting in Major League Baseball. As there we go, Yankees and Giants today. Robbie Ray going for the Giants. He's on my fantasy team, but the Yankees, that offense is just really good. Give me the Yankees on the road. I hate saying that. The A's and Blue Jays kick off things north of the border in Toronto. Luis Severino going for the A's. Kevin Gausman going for the Blue Jays. Give me the Blue Jays, but I think the A's keep it close. Rockies and Marlins kicking off their seasons today from Miami, Florida. Freeland going for the Rockies. Alcantara going for the Marlins. Give me the Rockies. You know what? The heck with it. Let's go Rocks. Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia is where the Braves and the Royals kick off their seasons. 6:15 this evening. Cole Reagans going for the Royals. Chris Sale for the Braves. This is going to be a really good game. I'm going to take the Royals in a close one. Apple TV 7:10. The Angels at the Astros for their second game in Houston. Kikchui going for the Angels. Burrows going for the Astros. I will take the Astros at home. Guardians and Mariners doing their second game dance on Apple TV at 8:40 from T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Williams going for Cleveland. Kirby going for Seattle. Give me Seattle in this one. I like Gene Kirby. MLB TV 8:40. The Tigers and Padres game 2. Petco Park in San Diego. Valdez going for the Tigers. King going for the Padres. Framber Valdez, of course, the guy that they signed to a bigger deal than what they're paying Tariq Skubal, and he's going to have to earn that for the Tigers. I think they get the win over the Padres, but King, very good pitcher for the Padres. And then 9:10 on MLB TV and the MLB Network tonight, the Diamondbacks at the Dodgers from Dodger Stadium. Nelson going for the D-backs. Sheehan going for the Dodgers. Give me the Dodgers at home. That is a very, very good team the Dodgers are. NCAA Tournament picks for tonight. Got Duke and St. John's, 6:10 on CBS. Give me St. John's over Duke. I really like that St. John's team, and I think that they can take down the Blue Devils. Michigan State and UConn, 8:45 on CBS. Give me Michigan State, the 3 seed over the 2 seed. UConn's favored by 1.5. That's going to be a good game. Other games played today, 6:35 on TBS and True TV, Michigan and Alabama. Michigan was my pick to win the national championship. I think they beat Alabama and continue on that route. And then at 9:10 on TBS and True TV, it's Tennessee and Iowa State. Give me the Cyclones, as we'll have 2 Iowa schools in the Elite Eight, as Iowa State will take down Tennessee tonight. Tomorrow games, Iowa, Illinois, another battle in the Midwest after Iowa took down Nebraska. Give me Illinois, though, over the Hawkeyes. And then tomorrow at 7:49 on TBS and True TV, number 1 Arizona and number 2 Purdue. Oh, it just pains me to say this, the way Arizona fans have been, but give me the Wildcats over the Boilermakers. That is my picks for the weekend. Feel free to text me and let me know how bad I did. A big thank you to all of our sponsors, and thank you for listening. This has been Ridin' the Pine right here on Dry River Radio. Catch us again next week, as we'll do this all over again next week, next Friday, and we'll talk a lot more baseball next week. So if you're a baseball fan, that's the show you want to tune into. We'll also talk about the Final Four in the national championship in college basketball and whatever else that comes up between now and then. But either way, thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to go check out the podcasts on your favorite podcast streaming site. My name's Joey Dean. I'll be back with you on Friday. This has been Ridin' the Pine, presented by AAA Pawn and Armory, right here on Dry River Radio. Have a great weekend, everyone.